Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucks. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, of course, we have the beautiful Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody out there on what is our final Starbucks before the start of the season.
Isn't that amazing to say?
It's been a long time coming. I feel like spring, I think it was maybe just because when we go to spring training, we go so early. So it's like we're there for a week. And like a week of spring training is a pretty long time, especially like we did a whole lot of stuff down there. Like it was a lot of work. Then we get back and it's like there's still 3 more weeks of spring training, and we've just been waiting and waiting and waiting. Actually, 4 more weeks.
I was gonna say it's 4.
Yeah. And like we're finally down to the home stretch. I think there's one more spring training game.
Is it 1? Yeah, 1 today at 1:05. Yep.
So today is the final spring training game. And then it's real baseball.
It's real baseball.
It
is. I mean, it's here. We've been asking for baseball to finally be here for so long. That's why spring training was so great. I mean, when pitchers and catchers were reporting, it was exciting because, like, hey, we're gonna see the grainy videos and this and that, and the guys in the best shape of their lives. And then we were going down there to watch, like you mentioned, spring training. And we had fake baseball for a bit of time, but that quenches your thirst of baseball for just so long until you need the real season to be here. And like you said, this is our very last Starbucks until the season's here. We have one more show, Jim, and it's not live on Wednesday night, which of course we'll do our over and unders on, and then it's baseball. It is opening day on Thursday. Paul Skenes is going to be pitching.
Post-game shows will be in full effect. Many sandwiches will hopefully be given away.
How many, Jim?
4 per win.
Say it again.
Good stuff.
Yes. 4. 2 winners for every post-game victory. 4 sandwiches in total. I can't wait. So excited. So excited. But I guess with that said, Jim, let's go ahead and continue our Starbucks show.
Let's do it.
Before we do, of course, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, Jimothy, I think we have a lot to talk about today, as we always do, but today especially. But let's talk about some of these topics. I mean, we have the Jared Jones injury, which is still in limbo to talk about. We have, of course, Paul Skenes, and I feel like every day he provides 3 to 4 quotes. That's all. Paul Skenes is just like a content magnet. Love him. We have a lot of roster decisions coming up. Yep. So I don't know. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with maybe like the Jared Jones?
Yeah, let's start with Jared Jones. We had Hannah Mears on Wednesday, and we discussed it a little bit. We talked about, the ripples throughout the clubhouse. She, gave us some good insight into, hey, like these guys aren't going to let any sort of news like this get them too down, next man up mentality, all that good stuff. That's all fine and well, and that's what you want the players to do. But hey, we're fans, so let's talk about the fallout here that happens if Jared Jones is forced to miss a significant period of time. So I would imagine everybody's heard by now, but elbow discomfort, second opinion. We haven't heard anything yet. I would imagine we hear something soon, though. Like, I mean, this news broke on Wednesday. So, we're Thursday, Friday, Sunday, 4 days into this now, and we really haven't gotten an update. You got to imagine he's gotten his second opinion. They probably have an idea of what they're going to do and how they're going to handle things. So we should be getting something soon on like an actual diagnosis here. But Yeah, it's not good news. I mean, Jerry Jones was coming into this year. I mean, depending on how you wanted to look at it, probably your number 2 or number 3 starting pitcher. You were relying on him to provide not necessarily a ton of innings. Like I don't think any of us were expecting Jerry Jones to go out there and throw 180 plus innings, but you were hoping he was going to give you a solid, good 150. You
Mhm.
know, and be a really good major league pitcher throughout those 150 innings. Um, Second opinion, elbow discomfort. It's just when you hear those words together, you kind of think the worst. So if Jerry Jones just is not available this year to pitch, how serious does this become? You have a team where going into this offseason, you're like, okay, the strength of this team is going to be the starting pitching and the depth of that starting pitching. Well, in December,
Absolutely.
traded Luis Ortiz. A couple weeks ago, Johan Oviedo goes on the 60-day IL. Now Jared Jones is on the shelf. That depth that you had, I guess it's a good thing that you had it because now you got to start reaching into that depth. Um, so yeah, it sucks because and particularly like I thought Jared Jones was ready to roll, and like his sophomore season was going to come along and it was going to be better than his freshman season. I was fully expecting that, and I was expecting a lot of really good
But
things from Jerry Jones today.
and why? Like, not just like, "Oh, I have faith in this," not just
Yeah.
because like, "Oh, like, he needs to be." I mean, why did you think he was going to?
The stuff is really good, and then you saw him come into spring training flashing that changeup more and more and more. We've
Mhm.
been saying all along that, he needs a third pitch, he needs a third pitch, he needs a third pitch. Well, he was showing us that third pitch all
Right.
spring, and it
Right.
looked effective. And so when you add in how good the fastball and how good the slider are, and then you add in what looked to be a plus changeup, that just gives him so much more to work with, specifically against left-handed hitters. That yeah, I was expecting big things from him. So it's truly a bummer. If we can't watch Jared Jones until mid June of next year, because he's got to miss 14, 15 months. Not only is that a big blow to this year's team, it's a blow to next year's team too. Like we're not even talking about the 2025 Pirates at this point. Like because of the timing here, you're also talking
26.
about this affecting the 26 Pirates.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So you talk about the depth, you talk about how it affects like next year and such and whatever. And yeah, like coming into this year, you felt good because there was a lot of depth, but there was quality depth. There was proven depth. I mean, I know Paul Skenes has pitched only 23 career Major League Baseball games, but we don't care. he's he's a Cy Young candidate. There's no like, all right, calm down. He's just this guy's legit. Mitch Kelly, you know what he is. Like at the very worst, you know what he is. But there's still upside. He's nixed some pitches this year, right? He's refined his repertoire, so maybe there's reason to believe he's gonna be better. Jared Jones come this year, and like what he can be. Like there's still a little bit more to prove, but he's proven that he belongs. And there's a lot of things to be excited about. And for all the reasons you mentioned, how you can be excited that he can be even better, right? Like if he can develop a third pitch, think about how good and lethal he could be. And it seemed as if he was, that changeup was looking pretty good. So it's like you had and Bailey Falter, right? So like you had 4 guys that are returning from last year in the rotation that are already there. They add Andrew Heaney. Great. You know what? There's depth. They added to it, right? They made his strength even stronger. There's another vet. He's going to give you some innings. And then Johan Oviedo's coming back. He's proven himself a bit, right? He's come after injury, but like, hey, he's not even really needed right now. He can slide into it. Well, you know what? He goes down. And you're thinking, well, okay, like it's still cool, like you mentioned. And now Jared goes down. And the thing about this team is like there's still depth, but now the depth isn't the proven depth. Now the depth is the talent, the Bubbas, the Harringtons, the Ashcrafts. And it's okay, but you're losing of the knowns and more of the unknowns and what ifs. And that's what's kind of, I'm not gonna say scary, that's what's kind of a little more uneasy about this rotation at this point in time. Because you trade Ortiz, and that's fine. There's a lot of depth, but now 2 pitchers go down. And yeah, Oviedo's on the 60-day. His Tommy John was in December of 23. If Jared has to go that route, it's looking more of in April, right? Or very, very late March. Oviedo's already had a setback. He's not going to be he's not going to be a midseason. He's not going to be early. He's going to be a midseason return this year. Like if Jared's getting it now, like his entire 25 and potentially entire or the major majority of 26 could be gone, of the Oviedo route here. Like that hurts. That hurts. So yeah, this is huge news. And of course I'm bracing for the worst just because the second opinion isn't good, like the route this is going isn't good, but I'm hopeful that it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe he's going to be shelved for the 60-day and he'll be back because that'll be good. That'll be good for Jared and everything else that he does return this year. Doesn't have Tommy John, but yeah, I'm bracing for the worst.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the timing issue, right? And with Oviedo, I can't really lump his injury in with the Tommy John. I guess you could say that maybe because it's a lat strain right now that put him on the IL, but you could say that they're connected. Like
connected, right? And that's what I'm alluding to.
Yeah, like did he injure this because he was compensating, from his Tommy John? So it's just one of those things. Like when a pitcher's coming back from Tommy John surgery, like they're doing things new for the first time again,
right?
And stuff happens, stuff breaks when you see that. Like I said, Oviedo's back on the shelf with a different injury. If you look at just kind of recent Pirates examples here, if you're looking at from a timing standpoint, Dowry Moretta last year, like this was when he got put on the shelf. Dowry Moretta has not pitched yet in any spring games. Like he had his Tommy John surgery almost a year ago today. March 21st is when Dowry Moretta had his Tommy John, and he's on the 60-day IL. So like he's not coming back until at least June. If you remember, JT Brubaker was a similar situation 2 years ago where Tommy John surgery, at the end of spring training. He didn't pitch that full year. He didn't pitch that full next year in the majors. He got some innings in the minors, but like JT Brubaker threw 16 2/3 innings last year in the minors.
Right.
And that was a full year removed from Tommy John. So yeah, the timing of this,
from what I recall, he had some setbacks too, wasn't it?
Yeah. But like,
that's why I say, like, I mean,
yep,
they could recover from Tommy John, but right, this is the first time you're coming into a pitching program afterwards and stuff, and right, you can have setbacks in other places.
Yeah, the timing of this it sucks. So then it's like, okay, we've got this depth now. Like, who steps in? Because that's what you got to talk about here is who steps in, and it looks like that battle is coming down to the wire. Thomas Harrington is starting today. It was supposed to be Andrew Heaney, but they're giving the start to Harrington, I would imagine, just to get one more look at him, because that last spot now is between him and Carmen Mlodzinski, who they've also been stretching out this spring. So that's it. Like that, your fifth starter is either going to be your prospect, your top 100 prospect, who is basically major league ready. I would say Thomas Harrington is as major league ready as you could think of. He's got 20. He had 21 starts last year, 8 of them in AAA. He looked pretty good in those 8 starts. Just from a command standpoint, he I feel like he throws enough strikes that he can get major league hitters out. His stuff isn't elite, but it's good enough. He's looked good in the limited action he's had this spring. We've seen quite a bit of him from prospect. He was in the breakout game last year. He's been in spring training last year. He's been in spring training this year. I think we have a pretty good idea of what Harrington brings to the table. OG asks, is Harrington PPI eligible? Yes, he is. So that's another benefit where it's like, maybe does that play into effect here? Carmen Mlodzinski, someone who hasn't started since 2022. And he started in AA, and then once he got promoted to AAA, they moved him to a reliever. He's been stretched out, and he looks pretty good this spring too. Like just from what we've seen. But I'm curious on your take here. I'll give mine too. But I think I'd be okay with either option, but there certainly is one that I'd lean, and I've got a couple, and I think there's a few things that play into it. But what are your thoughts on this? Just like who's gonna be the fifth starter out of spring?
Yeah. Well, you say you'd be okay. If it's a short term, right? I'm okay with this. It's a Spencer Horwitz thing all over again to some level, right? Like, hey, it's just a few weeks, right? Or hey, it's just for now until whatever. Carmen Mlodzinski, if he's going to be the fifth starter, like I said, like I'll be okay with it. But to me, that's not the best decision. I mean, Carmen Mlodzinski was a starter once before, like you mentioned. He hasn't started since 2022. That was in Double A, and in Double A as a 23-year-old starting games, he had a 4.78 ERA. That's not Thomas Harrington. Yeah, and that's what I'm alluding to. We want to look at the guy like Carmen Mlodzinski is a guy who you said, you know what? If he becomes a reliever, maybe there's a weapon there. And he's become a reliever, and he still hasn't proven too much that he's like a tremendous weapon, but he's capable, right? And maybe he could be this year. But like I think Carmen Mlodzinski's best strength is being a bullpen pitcher. And Thomas Harrington has been a starter, and he's been a quality starter. And there's a reason why he's PPI eligible, because he's a top prospect amongst everyone's eyes, right? And we had Eric on here, and it's like, like Harrington's not going to win you the playoffs, but he's going to help you get there. Well, help him, like let him help you get there. And that's where I'm at. Like he's done it. He's done it well. Carmen Mlodzinski hasn't done it well. Carmen Mlodzinski's gotten the boot for being a starter to go to the reliever. So let Carmen Mlodzinski help your bullpen be a strength, and let Thomas Harrington help your rotation be a strength. And that's just simply where I'm at. Yeah, Thomas Harrington to me is the answer. Now, I think what you could debate on is, well, why not Bubba? We can get there, but right now the question is Carmen or Thomas Harrington, and to me, it's absolutely Harrington. I'm glad that they are making that look too. Like this is something that traditionally you would expect the Pirates to say, well, we'll just give it to Carmen Mlodzinski. Harrington's a prospect. He's a rookie. Let's manipulate. Let's keep him down. Jared Jones came up last year, starting opening day because of a need. And we said this year that hopefully that doesn't look like the situation that will be done. And we're speaking more of Bubba, right, in this aspect. But like, I don't see that there's going to be a need. And of course, it's Jared Jones who's down now. And there is a need. And it looks like the Pirates might say, you know what, hey, let's kick it again. Let's start someone in the rotation that's a rookie. I'm all for Harrington.
Yeah, and I've got a similar line of thought there. For me, one, I'm looking at this bullpen, and it just doesn't really inspire confidence
Mm-hmm.
in me. If you look on roster resource right now, and we'll get to this bullpen makeup, but I don't know, with Kyle Nicholas going down, like there is an open spot, probably two open spots in this bullpen where it's like, who's going to get this? And Carmen Mlodzinski has shown to be an effective reliever in his short major league career. He's, through parts of 2 seasons, 86 and 2/3 innings, 2.91 ERA, 3.64 FIP. Like he's been effective in the relief role. And at this point in time, like if I'm looking at this Pirates roster resource page, Hunter Stratton's listed on there right now, and that's not going to happen. He's going to start on the IL. But
Right.
like there's a spot there. And then like, so do you bring in 4 lefties, or all 3 lefties on the 40-man going to make this team plus Ryan Baracki? Is Tanner Rainey going to make this team? Because you option Nicholas. Like there's really not a whole lot of other options. Is Ryder Ryan that guy? Like who's that last bullpen arm? And it's just, if Carmen Mlodzinski is that last bullpen arm, I think it makes this bullpen quite a bit better than what it's looking like right now. So that's the first reason why I'm doing this. And it goes back into, like Carmen Mlodzinski, even when he was a starter in Double A, he was average at best,
Yeah, like not even average, really.
So like he's found a good role. He's carved out a good spot for himself in this organization, and it's as a bullpen arm and someone who can give you 2 innings at a time if you need him to. So that's just where I feel like he fits best. And Thomas Harrington is a starter. He's been a starter throughout the minors. He's been a starter in AAA. He's shown that he can do it well in AAA. He's a top prospect, like you mentioned, for a reason. He is PPI eligible. So why not go for it? Like, start him on the opening day roster. If it doesn't work out, or if someone, it's time for Bubba, you can always send Harrington down. Like that's a thing that you can do, right?
Yep.
But the reason why I bring up the PPI eligibility, and yes, there are going to be, like, it's a long shot. Thomas Harrington is a long shot to probably be a top
sure.
2 NL rookie player this season, but stuff happens. This is baseball. Last year, Luis Gil won the AL Rookie of the Year with a 2.2 WAR. 2.2 WAR. If Thomas Harrington made 30 starts in the majors this year, he could do that. Fully capable of doing that, in my opinion. So it's like, yeah, he's got to deal with Dylan Cruz and who else? There's a bunch of names out there in the NL that are escaping me.
Roki
Sasaki, Dylan Cruz. Yeah, so like there are other options out there. But
sure.
Hey, I mean, we thought we had to deal with Yamamoto last year. He got hurt. Like things happen. It's entirely possible that Thomas Harrington could sneak into the top 2 of the NL Rookie of the Year with a 2.5 WAR season. Weirder things have happened. Chris
100%.
Coughlin won a Rookie of the Year over Andrew McCutchen with a one fluke season.
That's where I was going to go with this too.
So it's like things happen over the course of 1 year. But no, that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, we're going to get one more look at Harrington today. He starts today, the final game of spring training. I think if he doesn't blow up there and he looks like he can fully handle himself in this position, that's who I'm taking to Miami as my number 5 starter. And I'm sliding Mlodzinski into the bullpen right now as my last arm in that bullpen. And then I'm carrying 3 lefties, which we'll get to a little bit of bullpen talk here later, but that's where I'm at right now. Just because there's too many. I don't like putting players in positions that just aren't best suited for them. And right now, Mlodzinski's best spot is the bullpen, in my opinion. Harrington's best spot is as a starter. So let them do what they do best, which is Mlodzinski coming in relief, Harrington coming in as a starter. That's my line of thinking.
100%. That's exactly where I'm at and why. Yeah, and that's what I say. If they decide to do Carmen, it's kind of whatever, right? Because it's not as strong. You're losing Jared Jones. That's a unique, very, very good, talented arm, right? But the rotation's still good. I don't want to look at it as like, oh, the rotation sucks now. This team is terrible. There's no hope. There's no chance. It's definitely a hit. But like if Carmen Mlodzinski is your number 5, so like again, we're talking about number 5 starter. Like you could probably do worse. You could do better though, and that's the thing that's where we're at. You can do better probably, and I think Thomas Harrington is the better choice. And again, like why take away from the bullpen to do it also, right? This is like the IKF situation, but on the pitching side, it's like you're taking a guy and put him in his worst situation. Put the guys in their best situation, make them better. So 100%, I think we both agree for the same reasons overall. And yeah, I just love the idea too. You know how much I love the idea. Is it a long shot? Of course it is. But let the kid prove it to you. Let him feel good about. Like you deserve this. Like we need help. You've earned it. Go out there. You're starting from day 1. And you know what? We're giving you an opportunity here. If you can pitch well, there's a chance you can make some money, right? Give yourself a name and go do it and prove yourself. And if not, then we'll pull you back. That's fine. We'll pull you back later and you can save that service time and do all the things you need to do. But at least you're giving him an opportunity. What a great feeling that is for Harrington, especially if you're getting it over Bubba. And then you can, Bubba, you're talking Paul Skenes day 2, buddy. Right. I made it over you in 2025. you're day 3. So anyways, I just love the idea of doing this also for many reasons.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I'm not sure what the Pirates are going to do. I think they're going to go that route because otherwise the option is probably carry 4 lefties in the bullpen. I don't They might do that. I think they like all 4 lefties, so it's like there is that, but I don't. That's not what I would do. Not what I would do.
And let's move on to there. And we're talking about roster decisions now and such. Like that's the impact. We discussed last week how you can see that there's going to be this situation. How many of those situations come about, we don't know, but there's going to be a situation where talent doesn't always win the opening day spot, especially with this bullpen. And we saw it already. Kyle Nicholas has been optioned. Is he more talented than some of these guys? Absolutely. But one thing you certainly need throughout a season is pitching. You need pitching available to you. And if you don't roster some of these guys now or play some of these games, right? Some guys who have options, utilize them. You're losing out. Brucky can go to another team. Like all these other guys can go to the team. And then if you find yourself taking just the talent and not having those bullets later in the season because you decided to call up a Nicholas right away and whatnot, then you're going to find yourself come June, July, looking around saying injuries happen and now we have no depth, even earlier than June and July. So it's okay. I know there was an eruption on Twitter that Kyle Nicholas was optioned. It is a smart play. He'll be back. He'll be back. He also, you want to talk about people proving things, like he didn't prove too much in spring. I mean, the issues he's had that's prevented him from being the elite, being the guy who, hey, he can be a closer if David Bednar isn't. Those issues were still there in spring. The guy just walks a lot of hitter or batters. And that was still there. I mean, he can still certainly work on some things to get into the season, into his groove, and be the guy that you need him to be. But yeah, this is one of those situations. So Kyle Nicholas isn't making the team, which I'm okay with, because Ryan Brucky has looked good. Joey Wentz has looked good. Like these guys have had pretty decent springs. Lawrence, he hasn't had a whole lot of time, but there's things to be liked about him. Mesa, right? He's had his moments in spring. And of course, Caleb Ferguson. So I don't like the idea of keeping 4 of those lefties. I don't like the idea of keeping all of these guys to make sure you have them, but I do think 3 at minimum. I do think Caleb Ferguson, Tim Mesa, and I'm going with our boy Ryan Brucky make the team. I think Brucky's proven like, hey, he's back, and I want him in a Pirates uniform being back.
Yeah, it's gosh, this is a tough one because there are things to like about all 4 lefties.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly Ferguson. Like I think Ferguson is good. Like I mean, he's your number 1 lefty out of the bullpen. He's on this team regardless. And then it's really just a matter of Barucki and Mesa are very similar in that like they've both had success. They're both coming off of down seasons. Barucki certainly had the better spring. Mesa's on the 40 man. He's got a major league deal. Barucki's not on the 40 man, so you'd have to add him. And then Joey Wentz, the things to like about Joey Wentz are, he hasn't had the success that the others have had in the majors. But I mean, it's good pedigree. He was a comp round pick. Like he was a top prospect at one point. And he started before, and he started as recently as 2 years ago. So like he has the ability to go multiple innings at a time. And again, he's had a good spring too. Like he's been around the zone. He's been throwing strikes. He's been striking hitters out. And when you saw him come over last year from Detroit, he was really good. I mean, he basically was only here in September, but he was good during that time. 1.50 ERA, 2.75 FIP in 12 innings. So and Andy's still kind of young. Like he's the youngest of the bunch. He's 27. It's difficult because I really like Barucki. I really like Mesa, and I think at this point I'm picking between those 2 guys. Like I think Joey Wentz, I'm opposite you. I think Joey Wentz has done enough to solidify a spot on this team. Just from the success he had in his time here last year, how he's looked in spring, and the ability to go multiple innings. Because what this team is going to need, they're going to need people to pitch innings this year. And he's shown that he can give you 60, 70, maybe 80 innings or so out of that bullpen when the others maybe not necessarily have done that. Meza throughout his career has really been more of a loogie type guy. He has more games than he has innings pitched. So he's throwing less than an inning per outing. Borucki has been a guy who we've seen go, a full inning and 2 innings at a time. So if it's me right now, my breakdown is Mlodzinski goes to the bullpen, and then Ferguson, Wentz, Borucki are my lefties. And OG says, don't overthink it. No one bats an eye at too many righty relievers. Well, that's because there's more righty hitters. Like that's the difference. Is like you're more likely to face right-handed bats than left-handed bats, and there's just something about right-handed hitters. They mash lefties. So like there's a reason why typically there's more right-handed pitchers than left-handed pitchers. I think you could get away with having four lefty relievers. I don't think that's necessarily a detriment. But
Right.
But I think with the arms that are available, that's how it would shake out for me. I do agree with you as far as the Nicholas situation. Like a 162 game regular season is just it's a war of attrition, especially when it comes to bullpens. So you gotta hold on to as many arms as possible. If you put Kyle Nicholas on this team, then we're talking about 2 of these guys that you have to let go. That's it, right? So you keep Nicholas in the minors. He'll be available. He'll probably be the first one up once someone gets hurt, which is going to happen. The arms are going to get hurt. They're going to break. If you want to hold on to more arms, then yeah, you're adding 4 lefties, and that's what your bullpen looks like. You're sending Harrington down, and Mlodzinski's your reliever, or you're sending Mlodzinski down and Harrington.
Right.
Like that's another option too that we haven't discussed. Like Mlodzinski could always go to AAA if they want to keep him a starter. That's just how it would shake. That's how it would shake out for me right now, though. Is I would go Mlodzinski the pen, and I would go Wentz, Borucki, Ferguson.
Well, it's tough. Let me ask you this. I mean, do you just kind of see Meza on the team? I mean, is that like, do you think the Pirates are even discussing, is that an option of not carrying Meza? So that way you can have Borucki and or Wentz and whatnot.
I don't think the Pirates are going to do that. I think Ben Cherington has shown kind of throughout his tenure here that he does want to keep as many arms as possible. And like I said, we saw that start yesterday with the Kyle Nicholas news. So I think they're going to carry 4 lefties. And then it's going to come down to Mlodzinski, Harrington for that 5th spot. And then the loser goes to AAA. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. That's just not how I would play it.
Okay. And like, I don't disagree. So again, like the reason I asked that too is you mentioned, like, you think it's coming down to Borucki or Meza. And I mean, do you think Meza's even in question?
I think, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, when you look at Tim Meza, he hasn't had a good spring. He has had, the home runs have bit him a little bit. So like the FIP is definitely outperforming his ERA, and it's only 8 innings. But I mean, you look at last year, and he struck out less than 6 per 9, 6.33 ERA, 4.50 FIP. Like last year was bad for Tim Meza. But you look at 21, 22, 23, he was a very effective pitcher out of the bullpen. If you're looking at like who's going to provide you the most innings, he's the odd man out for me. But yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, especially since they gave him a major league deal.
And that's like where I'm at. I mean, like he has the contract. I'm not even in my mind questioning that. I just feel like they gave him the contract. He's going to be on the club. So does it come down to, do you want Mlodzinski in here? Like now it's, to me, it's the question of, do you really like? I get Kyle Nicholas, and there you can definitely argue that there's things to work on and stuff, whatever. But like, are you keeping these 4 lefties in lieu of having Mlodzinski in the bullpen? And to me, that's where it's like, hold up, buddy. Kyle Nicholas, I understand, but now it's like, are you doing too much of the holding game opposed to impact right now? Sending Mlodzinski down to AAA so you can keep all 4 of those. Maybe that's a little overkill. 3 and Kyle Nicholas, absolutely okay with. So that to me, that's where the question really is. It's not even so much like Meza or Brucky. Is it Mlodzinski and Brucky, Wentz, Meza? Like all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's to me, it's like, okay, I need Mlodzinski in the bullpen still.
Yeah.
So
which is why, like, I feel like I said, I feel like they're just going to go the route of let's hold on to as many arms as possible. So I think all 4 make it. And if they're going that train of thought, they really have the choice where they can choose Mlodzinski or Nicholas.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I'm sorry, Mlodzinski or Harrington. And if that's the case, I want Harrington. Like, I don't like Carmen Mlodzinski as a starter. I think he can do it as like a 5th starter. Like, I think he's capable of providing that type of ceiling, but like that's his ceiling is 5th starter. And I just think he's best utilized in other ways.
Okay, fair enough. Well, then let's go ahead and move on. Enough of the bullpen. Let's talk about first base. It's been a battle. A lot of guys have been playing. A lot of guys seem to still be playing, which maybe is a little bit of an indicator. And at the same time, news comes out that, you know what? Hey, we haven't been doing this at all. But by the way, Endy Rodriguez is in the mix. So whatever you thought before, think differently. That, like, to me, we've kind of been assuming that someone is going to win the position for the first few weeks. It's probably not going to be like, hey, we'll just utilize Triolo, right? Or we'll just utilize Nick York, or we'll just utilize Adam Frazier, something like that. Like, someone's going to win it. So is it going to be the Derek Halls, the DJ Stewarts, the whomever, right? And I think DJ Stewart was leading the way, and we've both kind of confidently felt like it's probably going to be him because it's going to be short term anyways. But like you saw yesterday, we're getting the second to the last game of spring training, right? And Jared Triolo is playing first base still. And there's news that, hey, by the way, Endy's in the mix. Doesn't really bode confidence that DJ Stewart's making the team. And so, like, with that said, I don't think DJ Stewart's making the team. I think they're going to definitely go another route, because like if DJ Stewart's making the team, he's probably in that lineup yesterday playing first base, getting some more reps because he needs to make the team and play in Miami. And that wasn't the case. So yeah, what do you think's going to happen here? I don't think they're going to have this dedicated first baseman. I think they're going to roll with, here you go, guys. You're going to do it your thing. Plus, we're going to sprinkle in some first base for you.
Yeah, a little bit of a curveball yesterday with the Endy news. So Endy Rodriguez has made the team. Henry Davis was optioned to AAA. And in part of the reason why Endy Rodriguez made the team, the Pirates said, was because he can play first base, and that he hasn't been playing first base. They didn't want to put that on him until he made the team. Well, now it's March 24th. He has made the team. So now they're saying, oh, by the way, Endy's going to be in the mix for first base too. And it's a position he's played, throughout the minors. He hasn't played it a ton, but last year he played 1 game at first. 2023 he played 10 games at first. 2022 3 games at first. 2021 18 games at first. So it's a position that he's played, and he's athletic. He can handle the position. So yeah, that it definitely throws a wrench into things, because DJ Stewart started off spring so hot. But he's cooled off a bit, and you have seen DJ Stewart kind of have these highs and lows throughout his career. You've seen the lows throughout his career. I mean, he hasn't homered since the spring opener. He's had 3 games where he's collected a hit since March 1st. So, like, there's a lot of offers in there for DJ Stewart. He also hasn't really looked all that good at first base. It's not his natural position. The Pirates have kind of just put him there. So it's interesting now because now you have to look at the way this roster is. Nick York's been optioned. Billy Cook's been optioned. So there's essentially 2 spots left on this team, and it's effectively between G1 Bay, DJ Stewart, Jack Suwinski. Like those 3 guys are essentially fighting for 2 spots. Jack Suwinski's on this team. I don't see how there's a reason you can leave him off this team just with the power potential that's there. And that's what you need. Like Swinski's got to make this team. So then you're down to spot number 26, DJ Stewart versus G1 Bay. And people are saying Adam Frazier too. I think Adam Frazier's on this team, like regardless.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, he's on this team. He hasn't really done anything to prove it, but I think he's on the team.
We didn't do anything to prove the
he
signing
didn't-
either.
He didn't do anything. I don't know why he's here, but he's here.
Right.
but I think you're looking at Stewart versus Bay for the final spot, and it's really just a matter of how they want to approach first base. Is DJ Stewart's only making this team if they're going to give him first base starts against right-handed pitchers, because he really doesn't fit anywhere else. So is DJ Stewart your primary first baseman for the first few weeks, or do you just make it like a hodgepodge of Endy Rodriguez, Jared Triolo, and Adam Frazier, and just piece those 3 together to create a first baseman until Spencer Horwitz is back? I'll say this, like up until probably yesterday or maybe even Saturday, I was leaning, there's no way they can let G1 Bay on this team, is there? Like he was so bad last year. He's been so bad for multiple years. Every time we see G1 Bay play in the majors, it's bad. But he just keeps having a good spring. Like he's having a good spring. You do have to at least admit that, as much as I do not like G1 Bay, the person, he's having a good spring. He looks stronger. Like if you just look at him at the plate, he looks a little different from before. He's not striking out as much. There are things to like about G1 Bay's game, particularly his speed and his ability to create havoc. A lot of times he doesn't really utilize that well, and it doesn't work. I think they're gonna go that route now. Like I think G1 Bay is the 26th man on this team, and DJ Stewart's gonna be the odd man out, and first base is gonna be pieced together with Frazier, Triolo, and Endy for a few weeks. Because I don't think DJ Stewart's done enough to like win a spot on this team over the last 3 weeks. Like he hasn't. The spot was there for him to take. Like it was there. Like there was a spot here, and I don't think he's done enough to win the spot.
So my thing is, if we're talking a few days ago, right? And that was like Ryan and I talked about on the post-game show, and the graphic went out, and we talked about even more like a little discussion debate. The final spot's coming down to Suwinski or Bay, because again, DJ Stewart's making the team because they're going the route of having somebody there dedicated to play first base until Horwitz is healthy and comes back. That all changes now. To me, the question is, right, I think Jack's making the team also for multiple reasons. I mean, he has a good spring. He does have the track record. Absolutely sketchy. I get it. But he has had success in the major leagues at some point to some degree. This team needs power. He can provide that. He does have speed. He does have solid defense, in certain places. So, like, I think he makes a team. So, if it's coming down to G1 Bay or DJ Stewart, to me, if it's DJ Stewart, it's an everyday player for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather have DJ Stewart starting in your lineup or G1 Bay as a last bench option? Like, that's the question. Would you rather have the Triolos and Endies and whomever starting at first base and Bay as a bench person, or would you rather have DJ Stewart starting for you? And to me, I feel more comfortable with G1 Bay being that bench guy. Let the other guys who are better than DJ Stewart be better than DJ Stewart and do their thing. And you have to deal with G1 Bay at a very limited cost. To me, that's better. He doesn't expose this team as much as DJ Stewart exposes the team. So I think now at this point in time, it's G1 Bay and Jack Suwinski. Now I'll say this, like it's also not great, like this is guys that have a lot of flaws. There's some upside. There's a what if, right? But there's so many. I mean, like again, Adam Frazier's making the team. I don't understand why. I don't know what he does. I'm a big Adam Frazier guy. I love Adam Frazier, right? He can hit David. You're talking about one of the biggest Adam Frazier stands. I don't understand it for the year 2025. He's on your bench. And now you're adding Jack Suwinski, who's had a good spring. I get it, but a terrible 2024. And there's been like when he even has had good seasons, it's like, well, yeah, but and there's G1 Bay who just hasn't had any success in the major leagues also. So like this bench doesn't look good, but they do things differently. I'm going with G1 Bay over DJ Stewart. I am. Now, once Horwitz comes back in a short matter of time, then G1 Bay you can go back down probably. To me, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. That's not what I would do. I just feel like with the Endy to first base, like being in the first base mix, it changes things, and it has changed my mind on how they're going to approach this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do feel like you want to give Endy a fair bit of playing time. He's earned it. Like he's had a good spring. And if you're saying like who would I rather give at bats to, Endy Rodriguez or
G1 Bay,
G1 Bay or DJ Stewart, like
man.
Endy definitely has the most upside out of all of those guys. And I think Endy's floor is also the highest out of all of those guys. Like I think Endy at worst is still a below average major league hitter. So I would probably still go Stewart because I still want someone who's capable of putting the ball over the fence, even if it's just for a few weeks. And the spot, like the roster spot's going to be there. They DFA'd Palacios to add Hunter Stratton, but like the roster spot's going to be there because the one name we haven't even mentioned during this whole show is Peter Strzelecki. He has no options remaining. So like if Strzelecki doesn't make this team, which I don't think he will, there's a 40-man spot, right? Jared Jones goes on a 60-day IL. There's another 40-man spot. So like there's going to be spots available here in the coming days, I think, where you could add DJ Stewart for a few weeks. That's still the route I would go. I would still probably add Stewart to this team. It's just with the comments made yesterday, I don't think that's what they're going to do, which I'm fine with. I think I'm just more frustrated with like, this is 2025. This year was supposed to be different. And you're going north, which I guess in the Pirates case, they're going south, but you're going south with G1 Bay on your team, who's coming off a negative 0.7 WAR season and a 30 weighted runs created plus. Like that's
let me give you a counter to that.
That's who you're taking.
This is 2025. It's supposed to be different, and you're going south with DJ Stewart on the team. Like to me, it's the same problem.
It is. I guess I don't dislike Stewart.
The difference is DJ Stewart is starting on your team, and G1 Bay is your final bench spot.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that
Yeah.
to me.
Either way,
that's what it's coming down to.
Either way, this 26th man is not good.
Well, the 26th, the 25th, the 24th, it's right. Like it's
we're not
a problem.
In a good situation.
It's just right. Like, do you want your 26th man to be your everyday loosely a starter, probably 66% of the time?
Yeah.
Or do you want your 26th man to be the last bench guy?
So that's a good way of putting it. I don't like what G1 Bay brings to this team. I just don't think he gives you any positive value because the skills that he does have, he doesn't know how to translate it into on-field success. Now, he's still young. It could happen. He's had a good spring. Like you have to admit he's had a good spring. But he's had good springs in the past. You just saw him look so bad last year.
Yep.
We'll see. I think they're going to go that route, though. I think Stewart is not making this team. He just didn't do enough lately. The job was there for him to take, just like the job was there for like Nick York to take. Like Nick York and Billy Cook both had an opportunity to take a roster spot here, and neither of them did anything this spring either.
Right. Jim, you know what I think?
What do you think?
I think we owe something to the city. We owe a lot to the city. It's our job to go out there and win for the city because this is bigger than all of us. There's a reason why Kutch keeps coming back, and specifically to Pittsburgh. There's something about the city. We saw it last summer. We've seen it in the videos of the wild card game. I'm tired of watching them because it was the wild card series. The bar needs to be set pretty high. Not taking anything from those guys. The fact that that's the golden era of recent Pirates baseball, that needs to change. We owe it to the city. Words spoken by Paul Skenes. Man, if it didn't show that I was fired up for the season to start when the show opened, I am fired up for the season to start. And that's all thanks to Paul Skenes. This guy's different. This guy's absolutely different in all shapes and forms. And he has 23 career major league starts under his belt. I'm so happy that Paul Skenes is a Pittsburgh Pirate.
Yeah, I saw this quote yesterday, and I put it on Twitter. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard a Pittsburgh Pirate talk like that before. It's always, we're on the verge of something here. We're making something special. This, watch out. We're better than people think. This is completely different.
Or referencing the wild card game, being like, you know what? I want to be part of that. I saw what the wild card game was. I want to be part of that. Paul, no, he doesn't want to be part of that.
Yeah,
he wants
I was at
and
that.
Demands better.
I was at that wild card game, and it was electric, right? And Paul's basically saying that's not good enough.
That's terrible.
Whew, fires me up, Paul, because it's not. Like, let's be real, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, when he says it and he puts it this way, the golden era of Pirates baseball in the majority of fans' lifetimes is a wild card game. It's not good enough. The bar does need to be raised. The pinnacle cannot be that. So yeah, I'll say this, like Hannah on Wednesday, she talked about how Paul came into this spring with just like a different type of swagger, with a different type of confidence, with a different, like he's taking on that leadership role in this clubhouse. And this quote, holy moly, like he's basically saying, like, guys, we've been talking about this wild card game for 12 years. We need to be better than that. Like, we can't be shooting for the playoffs. We can't be shooting for a wild card appearance. We need to be better than that. And again, like it's one of those things where like you just don't hear Pittsburgh Pirates players speak like this. You don't hear Pittsburgh Pirates players speak like this. You don't hear Pittsburgh Pirates coaches speak like this. You don't hear Pittsburgh Pirates front office members speak like this. You don't hear Pittsburgh Pirates ownership speak like this. I've never heard anyone with any sort of connection to the Pittsburgh Pirates organization be like, you know what? All that stuff that you guys are talking about, how you loved it and how it was great, not good enough. So
can I take it a step further?
Fires me up.
You don't hear 22-year-olds on any team speak like this. That's what's major in this whole thing. We are witnessing the takeover of this being Paul Skenes' team. We wondered coming in this year, like how, like last year he is the rookie, right? He's going to take a step back a little bit. Like, what's this year going to be? He is taking it. This is my team. He is the voice. He is the face. Whoever you thought it might be before, if it wasn't Paul Skenes, it ain't it right now. This is Paul's team. He's 22 years old, going to be turning 23 this year. And he desires all of that. He wants it to be. He's not shy from it. He wants it. People follow him, like Hannah talked about. He just has this aura around him. People follow everything he does. He leads by example. He's leading by voice a little bit right now, too. This is Paul's team. He just took it.
100%. He is the unquestioned leader of this group right now.
Amazing. And it's again like the stuff that we talked with Hannah. It's like he says these things, but boy, he backs it up too. Like this isn't just smoke. This isn't just a loudmouth, a leadership. That's what I should say. I mean, he backs it up. And yeah, hearing that quote was just like, damn right. Because like you said, people come into the organization or come up to the organization, they say, yeah, I've seen that wild card game. Man, I want to be part of that. And Paul Skenes says, I'm looking past that. No, no, this ain't about the wild card. This is sad. This is what you guys are. This is it. This is a monumental moment. This is sad. Let's go out there and get some new memories, guys, because I feel bad for you. I'm here now. Love it. Love it. Paul Skenes is worth every bit of any contract he gets next.
He really is.
I hope you hear that too, Bob Nutting and Ben Harrington and company.
He's impressive. He's impressive in every way. He's impressive on the field. He's impressive off the field. Like you said, this is his team now. He's going to do everything in his power to get this team into where he wants to be. Because you got to think this guy is a winner. Like he's won. His last year at LSU, won the College World Series, came here, and he joined a bunch of losers. And
as Tyler said, quite eloquently,
losers. So like, can he bring this group of losers and make them winners? It does stink that he only gets the ball, once every 5 days. So like the rest of the team is going to have to pick up. But I also put it out there yesterday on Twitter where like the Pirates are going to have to win a lot of Paul Skenes starts. Like, and I'm talking about like if there's 32 of them, they need to figure out a way to go like 25-7 in those 32 starts because he looks like he's ready to do that. Like he looks like he's ready to put up another really special season. So you've got to capitalize on that. You have to win the games that he's out there. Every Paul Skenes start is a stupid important game. And it's weird to say that because over 162 game season, like no one game is important. But like the Paul Skenes starts, you got to win those because he's the best player on the field every time he steps on that field. You need to win those games. And then if you win those games, it takes a little bit of pressure off everybody else where it's like if the other 130 starts that Paul Skenes doesn't make, if you can win half of those, figure out a way to win half of them.
Yeah.
Be a 500 team. You're a playoff team. Plain and simple. That is the route to the playoffs. Win the Paul Skenes starts, at least a good chunk of them, and then be a 500 team outside of that. If they can do that, they're a playoff team. Now, has Ben Harrington built a roster that is capable of doing that? Are these players ready to step up and take those steps forward in order to do that? We've been talking all offseason about how they need internal improvements. Well, now it's time to show it. Opening day's on Thursday. Did you improve or did you not improve? They have to improve. They have to get better, or we waste another year of Paul Skenes. They got to be better. They got to back them up. They've got to respond to the leadership, and they need to be better baseball players than they've been in the past. Plain and simple. Like, this is the team we're rolling with. This is our squad. It's, we complained all offseason about how they didn't do enough. It's no longer the offseason. This is who we're running with. This is who we got to back. This is who needs to be better. And Paul Skenes is saying, like, guys, like, we need to be better. So now go be better.
And he's going to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
In his way. I don't know exactly what the way that is, but he's going to. Fully confident in that to some level. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, great quote. And like I said, it seems like every day we get something from Paul Skenes. So, love it. Continue, Paul Skenes. Make this team better. Congratulations, Libby Dunn. LSU Gymnastics won a national championship. I mean, those two just breed success. just piss excellence. And Paul's going to ensure that he's not left behind this year. I'm sure. So,
yep.
I'm excited. And I am very happy that Paul Skenes is a Pittsburgh Pirate once again. So, with that said, anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up our very last Starbucks of the offseason?
No, I'm ready for the season to start. Like, we're so close. Wednesday's show is going to be fun. It's always one of my favorite shows of the year. You know why it's one of my favorite shows of the year? Because it's when I get to show everybody how much smarter I am than you and Tyler. What is it, 3 years in a row now I've won this? 3 years in a row?
I can confirm 2. I don't know.
I think it's 3. I think it's 3.
You know, Vince Velasquez having 3 starts and you're winning your ERA number on him. Yeah, whatever, Jim. Oh, you know ball.
Hey. It all goes into effect.
Right.
But no, it's gonna be a fun show. It's like our season preview, and really we just kind of pick a bunch of numbers, do over-unders, kind of say our piece about everybody and how the season's gonna play out. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to beat you guys again.
I'm excited as well. We'll have that opening day Thursday. Start our post-game shows. Once again, if you haven't heard, tune in after the shows. If you win, the Bucks win, you win. Giving away 4 sandwiches from Permani Brothers. So yeah, Permani Brothers NS9 back in the fold for 2025. So tune in. A lot of fun stuff coming up this week.
Yeah, speaking of the Permani Brothers stuff too, like I said, we go live after every single game. So make sure you don't miss that because it's going to give you the chance to win those sandwiches. So if you aren't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. And if you haven't hit the bell that says alert me when we go live, make sure you hit that bell because that way you never miss a post-game show, which means you never get to miss an opportunity to win those sandwiches.
That's it.
Yep.
Join along for the fun ride. You could be a member on our YouTube, 99 cents. You could be a member of our Patreon for $4.99 a month. A lot of perks and benefits for both. And cool stuff. I'm ready to go. Let's get out of here, Jim. How's that?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. We'll be back again, like we mentioned, Wednesday, 9 o'clock. And it's not live. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
See you guys. All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.